Greetings, everyone, and welcome. September the 22nd, 2025. I have a couple pieces of breaking news coming to you. As you can see on the thumbnail and the title of the video, we'll start with the Moscow skies are closed. This is as of about 8 p.m. Moscow time. Massive drone attack. 10 confirmed explosions. All airports are closed. And these are facts. This is not hearsay. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing, liking, and commenting. I'm going to give you the details on that. And then the big story that I was going to break was about Putin's statements today that must be heard. Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you. Let's jump right in. So, Moscow skies are closed. At least 10 explosions in Moscow. The strikes are being delivered from the air. This is to Russian media. I've seen all the videos. Yes, it's drones coming in. The sky over the capital is completely closed. Flights are massively delayed at airports. And as the airports are closed, flights are forced to turn back. The bottom couple of bullets I actually took directly from Russian sources that are so pro-Russia, but they're accurate on details of strikes. Explosions are reported in the districts of all of those lists. I won't take time to read those for you. Media reporting that the sky over Moscow completely closed, flights and delays at airports. So this is good news. I can actually show you here the flight path of the Ukrainian drones. They're calling it Operation Carpet. In case you were wondering, the blue circle, green circle there represents the city of Moscow. So you can see 4 waves of attack going in, surrounding Moscow, and then all of the drones turned in and came from north, south, east, and west to wreak havoc on the city of Moscow. It will be interesting to see what is the response, what is stated, what we hear, because this is the biggest attack yet on Moscow City, closing all of the airports simultaneously. And guys, I want to remind you that Moscow is a huge city. Way over 20 to 25 million people. At any moment, 2 million people are underground on the metro. This is a massive operation to stop all of these airports. It's a good day. We are still getting information in on that right now. Now, I want to go to the next story that is huge. In fact, the only thing that superseded what I'm going to share with you now is the massive attack on Moscow. But here we have it. Putin. While the West is busy with the disagreements on the Palestinian state, threatening an air base that the USSR constructed. These are all statements coming out of Moscow. And that specifically is the Bagram air base there in Afghanistan that Trump says, give it back to us or it's going to be bad for you. It's our base. We built it. No, the Soviet Union built it in the 50s. They go on to just kind of troll a little bit, chasing boats in the Caribbean and preparing for U.S. fights on hallowed grounds. Putin announced today that the start of deploying medium-range missiles, abandoning arms reduction agreements, and preparing military force in response to any threat has begun. He was speaking to members of Russia's Security Council, and there you had Medvedev, you had Shoigu, you had Lavrov, you had Belousov, you had all of them. Strategic stability in the world has begun to deteriorate due to the destructive steps of the West. It's all the West's fault. The foundations for dialogue between nuclear-armed countries have been significantly lowered. Russia has warned the West again and again, but its initiatives have not received a clear response at all. Russia is ready to respond to threats and not just in words. There are some other talking points, and then I'm going to play you a clip of the video translated and voiced over. Russia ready to respond, not with words, but with military force. These are all quotes from Putin today out of the entire statement that he made to the Security Council. The refusal of the moratorium on medium and short-range missiles was called a forced step. Russia now saying because of your inaction and because of the Western escalation in rhetoric, we are now forced to do this. The West, according to him, undermines the foundations of dialogue between nuclear states. We watch very closely and will respond accordingly to the desire for space-based weapons. Now we start to talk about Golden Dome. We begin to talk about the space deployed weapons that the United States has been talking about over the last few months. Our Kremlin initiatives that we have put forth have received no response. I'm just reporting what he said. The New START treaty between the U.S. and Russia expires on the 5th of February 2026, and Putin today offered to Washington to maintain the status quo with that, but without treaty or without documentation. I mean, in the driver's seat. Listen, here's Putin talking.
Step by step, the system of Soviet-American and Russian-American agreements on nuclear and strategic missile control was essentially disbanded. These are the owners of two largest nuclear arsenals, and this situation has a bearing on the global security as well. The reasons and the possible consequences of this situation have been mentioned time and again. The strategic risks that have accumulated since the start of the century are due to the actions of the West, their destabilizing doctrines and strategic military programs aimed at disrupting global parity and an attempt to obtain absolute dominance. We have dwelled on this in detail, criticizing this position, underscoring the utmost danger of further escalation, and have also proposed concrete ideas on joint actions to remediate the situation.
Are you listening
to
this?
Our proposals and our initiatives did not meet with a response, a coherent response at any rate.
Our proposals have not met with a response, and not even a coherent response at any rate. Ladies and gentlemen, his statement was, I think, about 9 minutes long, and all of the bullet points I played for you, or stated to you, quoted to you, were in there. But I wanted you to hear that part where he says it's the West's fault. We're trying to do everything right. Everything is their fault. And of course, this is his modus operandi. Now, I will tell you that they watch everything. If you do not learn anything else from my 31 years working in Russia and then 28, 29 in Ukraine, please learn this. They watch everything. And one of the things that they watched, that they pushed out in front of this video today, was this right here. The UFC coming to the White House. And the reason they bring this up is not because it's going to happen in the future, but because the president, Donald Trump, continues to make reference to it. And this reference on the return flight coming back from the Charlie Kirk Memorial. They were asking him about all other types of information, the reporters were, and current events and global geopolitical situations. And this is what he said.
The big question is the having the UFC fight as the. I know you won't accept tickets because you're with the fake news. You're not allowed to accept tickets, but we're going to have a UFC fight right at the White House, and we're going to end up probably 6,000 people in front of the White House, and then on the ellipse we're going to have 80 or 90,000. It's going to be an unbelievable event.
And this is what Russia is watching. This is what Ukraine is watching. Ukraine today even coming out and saying, really? You're just leaving the Charlie Kirk Memorial. The world is in complete disarray. The United States budget looks like there may be an impasse and government may be shut down. And you're talking about a big UFC fight on the White House hallowed grounds. Are you serious, sir? And that's coming from everyone. Now, the third part of this breaking news, big story that I was going to share before we learned about the strikes there in Moscow was Iran and Russia. Iran rejecting the IAEA. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all in connection with Moscow. Make no mistake about it. Iran and Russia, secondly, signing an agreement in the coming days on the construction of new nuclear power units on the territory of the Islamic Republic. So they're rejecting the IAEA, Russia swooping in, going to begin building a nuclear power unit there in Iran. And then This just coming out. Iran has started supplying gas turbines to Russia. Iranian equipment is expected to replace the Siemens equipment, of course, which was stopped after the sanctions and the invasion and now full-scale war with Ukraine. The first upgraded Iranian turbine has already arrived in the Russian Federation. It's already there, and a total of 40 of these turbines are expected to be delivered. Now, any responses to this at all? Any of these things? Yeah, a couple. Yermak responding after the Putin statements of earlier today, saying Putin can only be cured by force. He didn't say stopped. He said cured by force. That is obvious. And now I put on top of that a Kellogg statement that nobody is paying attention to. General Kellogg, the envoy for Ukraine, a friend of Ukraine, a man who understands how to defeat Russia. He was interviewed, I think it was out of UK, and this statement's very close, very clear and close to the topics we're talking about in this breaking news update. He says we're getting off course a little bit. The hope for peace without a ceasefire is unreal. Putin does not want a ceasefire. He thinks he can win militarily. I do not think that is true. Here it is.
It's possible to deliver a peace deal that respects Ukrainian sovereignty while forever deterring Russia?
It's going to be really hard because even if it's a peace, you're going to have a ceasefire. You have to stop shooting. That's a ceasefire. Putin knows that if he goes to a ceasefire, once the shooting stops, it's going to be really hard to restart it again. So my preference is always a ceasefire, but President Trump would like to go to a peace deal first. That's going to be hard to get to. Putin doesn't want to go there yet. Putin thinks he can win militarily. I don't think he can.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, and you even see a crack there in the Kellogg and Trump opinions on how to proceed next steps with the war in Ukraine. They view it differently. And I can tell you right now, Zelensky changed his opinion. Under pressure in the U.S., he was saying, okay, we can look at some type of truce or some type of just go straight to a deal. But now, no, he's heading to the White House tomorrow, actually, to speak with Trump. And I'm sure that is what is going to be discussed. We shall see. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting. We appreciate each and every one of you. Be blessed.